You know that moment when you realize the people who are supposed to love you most actually see you as disposable? I learned that lesson at my sister's wedding when she literally hid me behind a decorative pillar like I was some kind of shameful secret. But what happened next? Let me tell you, karma works in the most unexpected ways. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why I walked out of that wedding with my head held high while my sister's perfect day crumbled around her. Stick around, because this gets wild. So let me set the scene for you. My name is Emma, I'm 26 years old, and for most of my life, I've been living in the shadow of my older sister, Victoria. And when I say shadow, I mean the kind of shadow where the sun never, ever reaches you. Victoria was always the golden child. Straight A's, captain of the cheerleading squad, homecoming queen, the whole package. She went to an Ivy League school, landed a high-paying job at a consulting firm, and basically walked through life like she was the main character in everyone else's story. And me? Well, I was the supporting cast member that nobody really wanted in the frame. I took a different path. I went to community college, studied art, and became a freelance illustrator. I'm not going to lie and say I'm rolling in money, but I love what I do. I create children's book illustrations, and seeing kids light up when they see characters I've drawn? That's worth more than any corporate salary to me. But to Victoria and honestly, to my parents too, I was the disappointment. The one who didn't live up to the family's potential. The weird artsy kid who never quite fit in at their country club dinners and charity galas. So when Victoria got engaged to Brandon, this hotshot lawyer from a wealthy family, I knew her wedding was going to be the event of the century. At least in her mind. She'd been planning it since the day he proposed, and I'm talking about a year and a half of non-stop wedding talk. Every family dinner, every phone call, every text message was about flower arrangements, dress fittings, venue selections, and guest lists. I tried to be supportive. I really did. I asked about her plans, I showed up to dress appointments when she asked, and I even offered to create custom illustrations for her wedding invitations. You know what she said? Thanks, but we're going with a professional designer. The implication was clear. I wasn't professional enough for her big day. That hurt. But I swallowed it. Because that's what I'd been doing my whole life, swallowing the little cuts and dismissals, telling myself it wasn't that bad. Then came the conversation about the seating chart. This was about 2 months before the wedding. Victoria called me on a Tuesday evening, and I could hear that particular tone in her voice. The one that meant she was about to say something I wouldn't like but would frame it as somehow being for my own benefit. So Emma, I've been working on the seating arrangements, she started. And I wanted to talk to you about where you'll be sitting. Okay, I said, already feeling my stomach drop. What's up? Well, Brandon's family is very traditional. They're very image conscious, you know? And I just want everything to be perfect. There it was. The word that had defined my relationship with Victoria for years. Perfect. And I was never part of that equation. Victoria, just tell me what you're trying to say. She sighed, like I was being difficult. Look, most of the wedding party and family will be seated at the front tables where everyone can see them. But I think it would be better if you sat somewhere a bit more discreet. There's this beautiful decorative pillar near the back with a small table behind it. I sat there in silence, trying to process what she was actually saying. My own sister wanted to hide me at her wedding. You want me to sit behind a pillar, I said flatly. Don't be dramatic, Emma. It's a seating arrangement, not a personal attack. I just think with your style. And you know how you are at these events, you'd be more comfortable somewhere quieter anyway. My style. She meant my appearance. I have tattoos on my arms, I dress more alternative than country club chic, and I've never been good at the fake small talk that Victoria's crowd thrives on. So you're ashamed of me, I said quietly. Oh my God, here we go. Why do you always make everything about you? This is my wedding, Emma. My day. Can't you just do this one thing for me without turning it into a therapy session about your feelings? And there it was. The same pattern we'd been stuck in our whole lives. Victoria did whatever she wanted, and if I objected, I was being selfish and making things about me. Fine, I said quietly. I'll sit behind the pillar. Thank you. See? This is why I love you. You're so understanding when you want to be. I hung up and cried for an hour. Part of me wanted to just not go at all, but another part of me, the part that still hoped things could change, convinced me to show up. Fast forward to the wedding day. It was at this gorgeous estate venue, all sprawling gardens and elegant architecture. Victoria had gone all out with white and gold everything, thousands of roses, and a string quartet playing as guests arrived. I showed up in a simple black dress that I thought was elegant but not attention-grabbing. I'd covered most of my tattoos with a silk shawl. I'd even toned down my makeup. I wanted to blend in, to not give Victoria any reason to regret inviting me at all. The ceremony was beautiful, I'll give her that. I sat in my assigned seat behind the massive decorative pillar, craning my neck to catch glimpses of my sister walking down the aisle. Most of the time, I was just staring at marble, wondering how I'd ended up here. During the vows, I couldn't see anything at all. The pillar completely blocked my view. I just listened to their voices echo through the space and tried not to feel sorry for myself. Then came the reception. The ballroom was stunning, all twinkling lights and elegant table settings. And sure enough, there was my little table tucked behind another decorative pillar, completely hidden from the main reception area. I could hear everything, the toasts, the laughter, the clinking of glasses, but I couldn't see much. And more importantly, no one could see me. I sat down and looked at my place setting. Just one. I was sitting alone at a table for 8, hidden behind a pillar like Cinderella before the ball. That's when the tears started to come. I tried to hold them back, but sitting there in my hidden corner, completely isolated from my own family's celebration, listening to my father give a toast about how proud he was of Victoria, something just broke inside me. I wasn't mentioned in the toast. It was all about Victoria. I was dabbing at my eyes with my napkin when I heard a voice. Excuse me, is anyone sitting here? I looked up to find a man standing there, probably in his early 30s, wearing a sharp navy suit and carrying 2 glasses of champagne. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile. No, I managed to say. It's just me back here. Behind the pillar of shame? He said with a slight grin. Yeah, I'm familiar with this seating area. Mind if I join you? I blinked in confusion. You're supposed to sit back here too? He sat down and slid one of the champagne glasses toward me. Not exactly. But I saw someone sitting alone back here and thought you might like some company. I'm Marcus, by the way. Friend of Brandon's from law school. Emma, I said, accepting the champagne. Sister of the bride. Obviously not the favorite one. He laughed, a real genuine laugh that made me smile despite everything. Ah. So that's why you're in witness protection back here. Something like that. We talked for the next hour. Marcus was funny and easy to talk to, and he didn't seem to care at all that we were hidden behind a pillar. He told me about his work as a civil rights attorney, and when I mentioned my illustration work, his whole face lit up. Wait, you're Emma Chen? The Emma Chen who illustrated the little star who was afraid of the dark? My jaw dropped. You know my work? My niece has that book. She makes me read it to her every single night. Your illustrations are incredible. The way you captured emotion in the star characters' expressions? That's pure talent. For the first time that night, I felt seen. Really seen. Not as the disappointment sister, not as the family embarrassment, but as someone with value and talent. We were deep in conversation about children's literature when Victoria appeared around the pillar, her face already twisted in annoyance. "Emma, what are you doing?" she hissed, glancing nervously at Marcus. "I'm having a conversation," I said, straightening my spine. "This is Marcus. He's Brandon's friend from law school." Victoria's expression changed instantly, shifting into her fake pleasant smile. "Oh. Marcus. I didn't realize you'd wandered back here. Please, you should be at the main tables with the other guests. Emma's fine back here on her own. She actually prefers it, don't you, Emma?" Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the champagne, maybe it was Marcus's kindness making me realize how poorly I'd been treated, or maybe I was just done. "No, Victoria. I don't prefer it. You stuck me back here because you're ashamed of me." Her eyes went wide. "Emma, don't do this. Not here. Not now." "When then? When is it okay for me to say that it hurts to be hidden at my own sister's wedding like I'm something shameful?" People nearby were starting to notice the commotion. Victoria's perfect smile was cracking. "You're making a scene," she whispered harshly. "I'm making a scene? You literally made me sit behind a pillar." Marcus stood up beside me. "Hey, maybe we should all take a breath." But Victoria wasn't listening. Her face had gone red, and I could see her losing control of her perfect day. "You know what, Emma? This is exactly why you're sitting back here. You can't handle social situations without making everything about your feelings. You're so sensitive and dramatic, and I knew you'd find some way to make my wedding about you." "I didn't make it about me. You did when you decided I wasn't good enough to sit with the rest of our family." "You're not good enough," Victoria shouted, and the nearby conversations stopped completely. "There, I said it. You've never been good enough. You're a struggling artist with tattoos and weird clothes who can't even hold a real job. Brandon's family would take one look at you and wonder what kind of family he was marrying into. I did you a favor by putting you back here where you wouldn't embarrass yourself or me." The silence that followed was deafening. Even the band seemed to have stopped playing. I felt Marcus's hand gently touch my elbow, and something about that small gesture of support gave me the courage to stand up. "You know what, Victoria? You're right. I don't belong here. Not because I'm not good enough, but because I deserve better than a family that treats me like this." I took off the shawl that had been covering my tattoos and draped it over the back of the chair. "Thank you for the invitation, but I think I'm going to leave now." "Emma, wait." My mother's voice came from somewhere in the crowd that had gathered. She pushed through, my father right behind her. "Victoria, what's going on here?" "She's making a scene at my wedding," Victoria cried. "I tried to do something nice by including her, and this is how she repays me." My mother looked between us, and I waited. I waited for her to take my side for once, to tell Victoria that hiding me was wrong, to show me that I mattered. "Emma, sweetie," she said gently. "Can't you just sit down and let your sister enjoy her day? We can talk about this later." And there it was. The same choice they'd always made. "No, Mom. We won't talk about it later because later never comes. This is who you all are, and I'm done pretending it doesn't hurt. I'm done waiting for you to choose me just once." I turned to Marcus. "Thank you for the champagne and the conversation. It meant more than you know." He smiled sadly. "For what it's worth, I think you're pretty amazing. And that star book? Still my niece's favorite." I walked toward the exit, my heels clicking on the marble floor as everyone watched. I could hear Victoria crying behind me, my mother trying to calm her down, my father saying something about just letting me go. I almost made it to the door when I heard running footsteps. "Wait." I turned to find Marcus jogging after me, slightly out of breath. "I know this is crazy," he said. "But would you maybe want to grab coffee sometime? When you're not, walking out of a family disaster? Despite everything, I laughed. Are you seriously asking me out right now? I figure if you can stand up for yourself like that, you're definitely someone I want to know better. Plus, I need someone who can discuss children's literature with actual expertise. My niece is a tough crowd. I pulled out my phone. Give me your number. 6 months later, Marcus and I went on our first official date. He'd respected my need for space after the wedding, but we'd been texting constantly. That coffee date turned into dinner, which turned into a relationship I never saw coming. My family reached out a few times after the wedding. My mother called saying Victoria was very hurt by my behavior. My father sent an email asking me to apologize. Victoria herself sent a long text about how I'd ruined the happiest day of her life. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I focused on my work. And something amazing happened. That children's book Marcus mentioned? It ended up winning an award. The publisher wanted me to do 3 more books in the series. My career took off in ways I never expected. Marcus was there for all of it, cheering me on, introducing me to his family who embraced me immediately, tattoos and all, and showing me what it felt like to be chosen first instead of hidden away. About a year after the wedding, I got a call from Victoria. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Emma, she said, and her voice sounded different. Smaller somehow. I need to talk to you. Okay. Brandon and I are getting divorced. I sat down, genuinely shocked. What? Why? She laughed bitterly. Turns out his perfect family wasn't so perfect. His father was caught embezzling from his clients. The scandal made the newspapers. And suddenly, Brandon was worried about his image being tarnished. He started criticizing everything about me. My career, my appearance, my family. He said he needed a wife who would be an asset to his reputation, not a liability. Sound familiar? The irony wasn't lost on me. I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry for how I treated you. You were right about everything. I was ashamed of you because I was so desperate to fit into this perfect image that I'd built in my head. And I lost my sister because of it. I wanted to feel vindicated. I wanted to tell her I'd told her so. But mostly, I just felt sad. Victoria, I appreciate the apology. I do. But I can't just go back to how things were. You didn't just hurt me at your wedding. You hurt me our whole lives. And Mom and Dad enabled it. I know. I'm not asking you to forget everything. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what I did, and I'm genuinely sorry. We talked for another hour. She told me about her therapy, about the realizations that had been painful to face, about how losing her marriage had forced her to look at her entire life. I didn't forgive her that day. Maybe I never fully will. But it was a start. These days, my life looks nothing like I expected. Marcus and I got engaged last month. His proposal was simple and perfect, just the 2 of us at the art museum where we had our first real date. No big production, no one to impress. Just 2 people who chose each other. My work continues to grow. I have a waiting list of publishers wanting to work with me. I bought a little studio space where I can create without worrying about rent money. I teach illustration workshops for kids on weekends. And my family? We're working on it. Slowly. My mother has started calling more regularly, actually asking about my life instead of just talking about Victoria. My father sent me a card congratulating me on my engagement. Victoria and I text sometimes, surface-level stuff mostly, but it's something. The truth is, that moment behind the pillar was the wake-up call I needed. It hurt like hell, but it forced me to see that I'd been accepting crumbs of affection from people who should have been giving me the whole meal. Marcus likes to joke that he has excellent instincts because he found the most interesting person at that wedding hidden behind decorative architecture. And you know what? He's not wrong. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is being pushed to the margins. Because that's where you finally get enough distance to see the situation clearly. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You have to make a choice about what you're willing to accept. I chose myself. And it turns out, that was the best decision I ever made. Music swells. So here's what I want you to take away from this story. If the people in your life are treating you like you need to be hidden, like you're not good enough as you are, that's not your problem to fix by shrinking yourself. That's their problem for not recognizing your value. You are not too much. You are not too weird. You are not too different. You're just surrounded by people who are too small-minded to appreciate you. And sometimes, the stranger who takes your hand, literally or figuratively, shows you what you deserve. Someone who sees you, who celebrates you, who never asks you to hide. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below telling me your own stories about family drama or times when standing up for yourself changed everything. I read every single one, and your stories inspire me. And remember, you deserve a seat at the table. Not behind a pillar, not in the shadows, but right there in the light where everyone can see how amazing you are. Until next time, keep choosing yourself. Thanks for watching.